In this video, we learn how to use the unit circle to find values of cosine, sine, and tangent for angles which lie in the third quadrant we have here. So we're dealing with the third quadrant here. And this follows the previous video in which we dealt with the second quadrant. So if you haven't seen that, do make sure to watch it as well. That being said, let's get started. The whole idea behind finding values of sine, cosine, and tangent in the third quadrant is to work with diametrically opposite points on the unit circle. And here's what I mean. Let me quickly draw a very generic XY grid, so something looking like this. And let's say we have a point right here in the first quadrant whose coordinates are A and B. So A is the X coordinate and B is the Y coordinate. The point which will be diametrically opposite the point with coordinates AB here is the point that will lie on the line passing through the point with coordinates AB and the origin, such that it's at the same distance from the origin on the other side. So that would be this point right here. And so in an attempt to make things clear here, if I were to call this point here P, and the original point we were given Q, and the origin, well, I'll just call that O, then the length OP will be equal to the length OQ. Okay, now what's important here is that because points P and Q are diametrically opposite, the coordinates of point P will be the opposite of the coordinates of point Q. In other words, point P here would have coordinates negative A, negative B. And I should say, if you're wondering why I'm using the term diametrically opposite, it's because if we were to draw a circle whose center is at the origin O, such that the original point Q we had here lies on its circumference, then point P would also lie on the circumference and would be on the other side of the diameter PQ. Hence, diametrically opposite. That being said though, I carry on. Provided we're comfortable with this idea and the way in which the coordinates of these 2 points are connected, we're going to be just fine for finding values of cosine, sine, and tan in the third quadrant. And so let me dive right in with example 1 and I'll show you exactly how that works. So for example 1, let's say we had to find cosine of 210 degrees. Well, to do that, the first thing we should always do is make a quick sketch of a unit circle, something looking like this. There we go. And now we'll place a point P along the circumference of this circle, such that the radius at point P makes an angle of 210 degrees with the positive x-axis. So starting from this point here, moving along the circumference of the unit circle, 210 degrees would be roughly here. And so I draw my point P here on the unit circle. There we go, that's my point P. We'd have the radius OP right here, so that's O. And the angle made is therefore 210 degrees. All right, now clearly we're in the third quadrant here. And as soon as that happens, we're going to consider the point that's diametrically opposite the point P that we have. And to do that, I'll extend this radius OP until it cuts the circumference of the circle in the first quadrant. So that would look like this. There we go. And the point at which it touches the circumference, well, I'll call that point Q. All right, now the whole idea here is for us to compare the coordinates of this point Q, which is on the circumference of the unit circle, to the coordinates of our point P, which is also on the unit circle. And to do that, I like to focus on the angle that we were dealing with, so in this case that's 210 degrees. And notice that that's 30 degrees more than 180, so that angle there is 30 degrees. But hopefully you can appreciate that if this angle is 30 degrees, then so must this angle be. And so in the first quadrant here, the point Q along the circumference of the circle forms a 30-degree angle with the positive x-axis. Consequently, point Q has coordinates cosine of 30 and sine of 30. And of course, since the radius OP forms an angle of 210 degrees with the positive x-axis, the coordinates of point P will be equal to cosine of 210 and sine of 210. But now here's the thing. Since points P and Q are diametrically opposite each other, that allows us to state that the x-coordinate of point P has to be equal to the opposite of the x-coordinate of point Q, and the y-coordinate of point P has to equal to the opposite of the y-coordinate of point Q. In other words, from this sketch alone, we're now in a position to state that cosine of 210 must equal to the opposite of cosine of 30, and sine of 210 must equal to the opposite of sine of 30. And both cosine of 30 and sine of 30 are well-known results. Indeed, we can see both of their values right here in our table, where cosine of 30 degrees would be the square root of 3 over 2, and sine of 30 degrees would be 1/2. And so we can go ahead and state that cosine of 210 degrees must equal to the opposite of cosine of 30, so that's the opposite of the square root of 3 over 2. So let me write that. That's the opposite of the square root of 3 over 2. And that's the answer we were after. Now, of course, it wasn't asked for here. Indeed, we were only asked for cosine of 210 degrees. But let me also point out that we could also therefore state that sine of 210 degrees equals to the opposite of sine of 30. In other words, sine of 210 is equal to negative, or the opposite of, 1/2. And we're done. Okay, let's look at a second example. Example 2. And for example 2, let's say we're asked to find sine of 240 degrees. Well, again, the first thing I would do is draw a quick unit circle, something looking like this. And then I'd place a point P along the circumference of the unit circle in such a way that the radius OP forms a 240 degree angle with the positive x-axis. And so starting from here, 240 degrees would lead us to roughly here. And so if I place that point right here, that's point P. And so the radius OP makes an angle 240 degrees. Okay, now just as I did in the previous example, I'll extend this radius OP until it intersects with the circumference of the circle in the first quadrant. So that would be right here. And I'll call that point of intersection Q. And the next thing I make a note of is the angle between the negative side of the x-axis and the radius OP. So that would be this angle I'm hovering over right now. In fact, let me draw that. I'm referring to this angle here. And hopefully that's not too challenging, since as we move around the unit circle, a full half turn would be 180 degrees. To get to 240, we'd have to add an extra 60 degrees. So the blue angle there is 60 degrees. And consequently, if this angle is 60 degrees, so must be the angle between the radius OQ and the positive x-axis. In other words, this angle here is also 60 degrees. Okay, now because point Q lies on the circumference of this unit circle, and because the radius OQ forms an angle of 60 degrees with the positive side of the x-axis, the point Q we have here will have coordinates cosine of 60 and sine of 60. And of course the point P we started off with, well, since the angle formed was 240 degrees, its coordinates will be cosine of 240 and sine of 240. But now, since points P and Q are diametrically opposite from each other, their x-coordinates will be opposites, and so will their y-coordinates. Consequently, we can go ahead and state that cosine of 240, that's the x-coordinate of P, is equal to the opposite of cosine of 60, which is the x-coordinate of Q. Similarly, we could state that sine of 240, that's the y-coordinate of point P, is equal to the opposite of sine of 60, which is the y-coordinate of Q. And now both cosine of 60 and sine of 60 are well-known values. Indeed, we have them in our table right here. And so the opposite of cosine of 60 will be the opposite of 1/2. So cosine of 240 is equal to negative 1 over 2. And sine of 60, well, that's equal to the square root of 3 over 2. And so sine of 240, well, that will be equal to the opposite of, or negative, the square root of 3 over 2. And that's the answer we needed to find. Okay, now for both of these examples, we've seen how to find cosine and sine of an angle within the third quadrant. But what about tan? Well, let's see. Let's quickly write example 3 at the bottom here, example 3. And let's say we need to find tan of 225 degrees. Well, again, the first thing I'll do here is make a sketch of a unit circle. Okay. And I'll place my point P along the circumference of the unit circle in such a way that radius OP forms a 225 degree angle with the positive side of the x-axis. And so starting from here, 225 degrees would lead to roughly this point here. And so if I place that point right here, that's point P. And so we have our radius OP here. And so this angle here is 225 degrees. Now by now I'm sure you've understood. The first thing I'll do is extend my radius OP until it intersects with the circumference of the circle in the first quadrant. And at that point of intersection, I'll go ahead and call the point Q. And just as for the previous two examples, the next thing I do is figure out what this angle here is. And hopefully you'll agree that since this red angle here is 225 degrees, then this blue angle has to be 45 degrees more than 180. So that blue angle would be 45 degrees. And of course, since this angle is 45 degrees, so must be this angle right here, which is the angle between the radius OQ and the positive x-axis. So this angle here is 45 degrees as well. Consequently, since this is 45 degrees and since point Q lies on the circumference of the unit circle, point Q must have coordinates cosine of 45 and sine of 45. And so point P, which remember is at an angle 225 degrees, well, its coordinates will be cosine of 225 and sine of 225. And since point P is diametrically opposite point Q, we can state that cosine of 225 has to be equal to the opposite of cosine of 45, and that sine of 225 has to equal to the opposite of sine of 45. And so I'll quickly write that underneath. Those coordinates are the same as the opposite of cosine of 45 and the opposite of sine of 45. Okay, so these are the coordinates of our point P, and of course cosine of 45 and sine of 45 are both well known. Indeed, they're right here in our table. They're both equal to the square root of 2 over 2. But again, what about tan? Well, remember, looking back at our unit circle here, given a point P along the circumference of the unit circle, such that the radius OP forms an angle theta with the positive x-axis, the value of tan of theta is equal to the gradient, or the slope, of the radius OP. And the same can be said for the circle we just drew. The value of tan of 225 will be equal to the gradient of the radius OP. But since the radius OP has the same gradient as the radius OQ, indeed, the points P, O, and Q all lie on the same line, we can conclude that tan of 225 is equal to tan of 45. And so we can state that tan of 225 is equal to tan of 45, and this tan has a well-known value. Indeed, it's right here in our table. It's equal to 1. And so tan of 225 is just equal to 1. And that's the answer. And it's worth pointing out that we'd get the same result by considering the ratio that we have here. Remember, we had seen that tan of an angle theta is equal to sine of theta divided by cosine of theta. So in this case, that would mean that tan of 225 is equal to negative sine of 45 divided by negative cosine of 45. And in fact, I'll write all that up here. Let me put a little asterisk, and I'll write it here. And so I could go ahead and write that tan of 225 is equal to sine of 225 divided by cosine of 225, which is the same as negative sine of 45 over negative cosine of 45. And I'll quickly write that. That's negative sine of 45 over negative cosine of 45. And since both of these negatives will cancel each other out, that's just equal to sine of 45 over cosine of 45. And sine of 45 over cosine of 45, well, by very definition, is equal to tan of 45, which is why tan of 225 is equal to 1. But luckily for us, we won't have to go through all of this working each time we're after a tan value in the third quadrant. Indeed, regardless of where the point P lies in the third quadrant, we'll always be considering the point that's diametrically opposite to it in the first quadrant. And consequently, we'll always end up with the same scenario where P, O, and Q will lie on the same line. The gradients of OP and OQ will therefore be equal, and so will the values of tan. So, in the same way that tan of 225 is equal to tan of 45, we could go back to either one or both of the examples we've already seen, and quickly state that tan of 210 has to equal to tan of 30. And in fact, I'll quickly write that here. Tan of 210 is equal to tan of 30. And since tan of 30 is equal to 1 over root 3, tan of 210 is equal to 1 over root 3. Similarly, tan of 240, well, that will be equal to tan of 60. And so I can write that here. Tan of 240 is equal to tan of 60. And tan of 60, well, that's equal to the square root of 3. So tan of 240 is equal to the square root of 3. And to finish this video, we can generalize all of the results we've just seen for sine, cosine, and tangent. Here's the whole idea. Since each time we placed our point P, we considered the point that was diametrically opposite to it in the first quadrant. Indeed, that's what we did for example 1, example 2, and example 3. An important thing to realize here is that for each and every single one of these examples, the angle that we had been given was 180 more than the angle we ended up with in the first quadrant. Indeed, 210 is equal to 30 plus 180, 240 is equal to 60 plus 180, and last but not least, 225 is equal to 45 plus 180. And for each of the examples we've just seen, we notice that the cosine and sines that we got in the third quadrant were equal to the opposites of those in the first quadrant, and that the values of tan that we obtained in the third quadrant were equal to the corresponding value of tan in the first quadrant. And so I'll go ahead and write the following. Cosine of an angle theta plus 180 is equal to the opposite of cosine of theta. So for instance, if theta is 30 degrees, then theta plus 180 would be 210, and so cosine of 210 would be equal to the opposite of cosine of 30. That's how to read that type of formula. Similarly, sine of theta plus 180 will be equal to the opposite of sine of theta. And last but not least, tan of theta plus 180 will just be equal to tan of theta. And I'll go ahead and box those three results. And there we go. Hopefully we're now comfortable in finding values of cosine, sine, and tangent in the third quadrant of our unit circle. In the next video, we move on to the fourth quadrant. So do make sure to watch that as well. For now though, that's it for this tutorial.